All right. Good morning, everyone. Dan here with tradingology.com and the trading room for May 18th, 2021. Had a little time off this weekend, spent a little time on the road. So for you guys that were looking for me in the Slack channels yesterday, we are back today and welcoming Dave with us from our Strong Market Partnerships. Good to see you, Dave. How you doing?
Morning. Doing well. Weather's beautiful.
Oh, and he's outside. He can tell. A nice fresh air. Well, the markets don't know what they want to do yet today. Just taking a quick peek at the internals here, we see no drastic. We're just barely above the zero line. It did drop below zero on the internals for a short bit. Volume is just literally a flat line right now. Spaghetti junction. So all kinds of chop we got going on. Watching the futures.
Right at the open, it was just absolutely incredible. Very, very volatile. We kind of hit a peak in the pre-market around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then we started to decline in the futures. We opened up about plus 550 on the internals, and then like within a few seconds, it went negative. So it was a very strange day.
Yeah, I can zoom this one in so we can see that easier. I know this one's kind of an eye chart, so just so you can see what he's talking about there. Look at this massive bar. Like you say, right on that open.
Yeah, we opened up positive and boom, it just dropped like a rock.
And we compare that to what we normally see. I mean, yeah, we got big bars over here, but this is 5, 10, 15 minutes. This is all within that 5-minute open, going from +5 to -2. So that's a 700-point swing on the internals.
Yeah, it's big. Not sure what's going on. I mean, if you look at all the indices, M2K, the Russell 2000, Micro E minis were the most volatile. They're just unbelievably volatile.
Yeah, so I was not in any trades around the open. I waited till a little bit after. I actually just recently got out of a quick MES trade because it was looking good for a nice setup, and watching the SPY VIX that we like to see. I saw a nice little pump up on that 30-minute bar, so everything lined up perfect.
Good. Beautiful.
So out of that one, I do see we are right at this little short-term trend line on the VIX where we had the massive bounce last week and it's come right down to it. Is this going to be support for it again? Do we have another shot up? We'll find out. And it almost pierced my little bubble over here. That's a fun one.
Yeah. Not quite. Still hanging up there. So I guess the question is whether or not the slight, and I'll call it a slight pullback that we've had in the indexes here is going to lead to something larger, or is this a buy the dip opportunity? It's kind of too early to tell, I think.
Well, right now we actually have some activity with SD spiking down -28. If you watch it right here, we got a little spike down right now happening. And one thing to note too while I'm looking at this chart is not the huge bull trap, but we do kind of have bull traps along the way here. So these little mini rallies, if you want to call it that, during intraday may be muted very quickly.
Yeah, I call those really kind of spotty hurting. It's not well formed, and it doesn't look really like a positive setup here, but it doesn't look terribly negative either.
Yeah, I had the first few days on the synth there that is tracing back, so that's slightly a bullish move there. So it's in the favor of another rally, but we will see. This is the daily chart, so we'll see what the day closes. Everyone's been talking crypto too. I should probably make note of what was it? I think it was back on the 13th. We had talked about Bitcoin broke that Fibonacci sequence, right? So we had a new target to the downside. Actually threw this out there. Yeah, this was May 13th. So we're looking for 43,288. This is back when we were trading, or it was around the value of 47,241. Well, let's see what happened. There it is. Yesterday we hit that target.
Boom.
So we're now literally at 43,581 at the current. So that means we have a new target to the downside. My friends that are crypto fans, I'm sorry to tell you that you may very well go down to 31,283 now. But we could see a pullback to the downside. So it could be a little mini rally up to, if we rally up to the 618, we could see it back up at 52.9, give or take. Any of these could be pullbacks, and then the target will be 31,283. So I'm watching that.
If you're a long-term holder, going down to 32 probably wouldn't bother you too much, but who knows what's going to happen after that. we've had a pretty good bull. I mean, the bull run in crypto has been pretty steady and strong over the last couple of months. It hasn't really had a big pullback, but you see that daily chart of Bitcoin. It looks like a big topping pattern there. 32.
Almost make it out here. That looks like another little mini head and shoulders too.
And if you compare that to the Russell 2000 chart, they're almost identical.
Right.
Big head and shoulders pattern on the Russell 2000 as well.
So that's a quick update on that one. Just letting you guys know that the targets do. Sometimes these fibs don't lie, and look at how close this literally hit it within a couple hundred in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing target there that got hit.
And I just noticed.
I don't think anybody was talking about targets that low on Bitcoin when it was at 60.
No, because that's not happy things to say, right?
That's right.
So just letting you know, no advice, just that's what could happen. We may very well go back down to 30s. Who knows with what's going on with Elon and what he's doing, and now he's working on the dog coin. I'll call it the dog coin for now.
Yeah. Well, what the really strange thing is, he came out with another tweet and said, we actually didn't sell any Bitcoin. But didn't he come out? He came out with a tweet and said he sold Bitcoin.
I believe that there was actually a filing that showed that he did.
Yeah. And then he came out with a tweet. He says, this is only speculation. We didn't really sell any Bitcoin. What? He filed it.
It's just a made up world now that people live in. Just kidding. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
I just saw a new recent one too, though, with everyone's heard about the pipeline attacks. Bloomberg's got a headline this morning that obviously Biden's going all in, billions for cybersecurity after the wave of the recent attacks. So that's one thing I know. Did we talk about this one on here yet? But our fun little, I don't know if you want to call it a penny stock, but because it's actually sub penny right now, but we were looking at it down around 1, 2, 3 cents. We got ATDS. It's looking pretty good for us today. So if you guys are looking for maybe a little, and it fits right in, it's perfect timing. Not to say that we're attacking people and it's a good thing, or we're being attacked by people and it's a good thing, but that very well may lead to a good position on that side. But one thing to be warned, if people are looking at that, they have announced a reverse split that could happen in a very wide range. So keep an eye on that. It is just a little bit above 0.7 of a penny right now.
Yep, up 2.74%. Looks like it's doing pretty well. That is they're a risk mitigation company. Had some stuff going on with Microsoft a few months ago. They just came out with another product, I think just about a week ago, to help companies recover from a cyber attack.
I can pull up a chart here so you guys can see it, what we're talking about, because it's an OTC, so it's not a standard. They're looking to get listed on the NASDAQ right now is what their target is. So they need to make the $5 rule for that, which is why they announced the reverse split, but they just don't know when that's going to happen.
Right.
So this is the chart on that guy, and this is a weekly chart. So let me drop it down to a daily. And we'll pop this guy back a little so you can see better. We got down to 0.5 penny, and historically it likes to move at 0.5 penny. So another move up to up into this neighborhood would be nice. This is one of those that we found that Dave loves to call the beaten up stocks. So if we make another move up to a nickel or so, that'd be a nice little move.
Yeah, that would be a very nice move.
Data 443 Risk Mitigation Incorporated is what they're called. I think they coined this all-time data security is what the ATDS stands for. So that's one that we're looking at, and we'll pay attention to that one.
Yeah, and for you guys who may not think about these kind of things, but if you are interested in having a significant position or a long-term position in a stock, always go to their website, go to the investors section if they're publicly traded and sign up on their list to get news announcements, press releases, all that kind of stuff. So you can keep up to date with exactly what's going on with that company.
Yeah, that's where you have to bring in the fundamentals. So you got all sides of technical analysis as well as fundamental analysis, so you know what's going on.
Yeah, and you don't have to go hunting around for stuff or go back to their website or forget to go back to their website. It gets delivered right to your inbox. You can also set up a Google alert. So you could go to google.com alerts and sign up for anything to do with the company symbol. And that will also tell you who else is talking about that company.
Very, very good. Yes. You want as much information as possible. Kyle's in here. Any questions you guys got, throw them in the chat. Or we can always, as you guys know, we're in the Slack channels too.
How are commodities doing lately? I think they're still kind of hovering up there. Lumber has pulled back a little bit, but we're still pretty high levels. But commodities are holding in there as well. Not doing a lot there.
Yeah, lumber's finally taking a break at 1700 where it went up to hit. Per the Fibonacci's, we could see a retracement anywhere down to 828 if then it reverted back into the 1900 stratosphere. We'll see. That's the current pattern it's on. But normally what we see is a major pullback and then it slowly takes off. So it's not an overnight drop today, but this could be the pullback. Maybe it's coming back to reality. I don't know if we'll see 2000 in lumber or not, but that would be ridiculous.
One of the interesting things is if you measure those major pullbacks and kind of take an average of that, it could kind of give you the percentage term of the percentage pullback that you could experience. So for example, yeah, exactly. That one there was a fairly major pullback. See what the percentage is.
Oh, 40% it looks like.
All right, so if we get a 40% from the high, the most recent high, where does that take us?
67 and change, 68.
How about that? Almost right on that fib.
Yep. So we could see a 382 retracement and it could bounce right off of that, putting all the pieces together. And let me pull up the commodity charts here. We'll just switch this guy over to USCI, I believe is who we watch. Just a small little pullback there as we're expecting to see in commodities. Little gap up today. It's hovering right around 40, it looks like. And I can actually, let me pull over the chart that I normally see here. See where we are in that trend line, because that's an interesting one to watch. There we go. Yes, it looks like a crypto chart.
Yeah, it does. Wow.
So we haven't made it back down to the top of that trend line. Target's still 42.75 up here. But yeah, we are still in that upward motion. Little gap up yesterday, big green bar. So commodities haven't pulled back much. They've basically paused is what it looks like to me. Little drop back and now kind of sideways. And oh, my orders are, see, there's where I took my trade earlier. Apparently my session is restarting itself. Go away.
I memean, a lot of people say that crypto is a commodity, so they should follow commodities pretty well. And actually, when crypto started taking off back in November, December, January, February, that was about the same time that lumber took off. So they all kind of follow the same script.
Starting to move in unison versus being, it used to be inverse, right? We used to see inverse of crypto to the regular stock markets, and that has changed. You noticed that quite a few months ago.
Yep. Inverse to stocks or with stocks, and then correlated to stocks, and now correlated with, and also the bigger moves I think are coordinated with commodities. Really inverse to the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is getting hit again. I think we got a bottom here around 88. We'll see. We're long the dollar on a position, so we're kind of hoping that we're going to see something by the end of the year here. But it is pulling back a little bit. I think we made a lower low today, and we should see something around maybe the 88 level on the U.S. dollar DXY index before we start to see it go up.
Yeah, I did notice. I believe we broke that fib as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's you're talking about that lower low. That did happen. 89,683 was our previous starting point there. And if I hover here and you watch up at the low, we got to 89.69.
Right. See the screen.
That doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, there it is. 89693. No, what? This was below it earlier. What's going on here? Maybe I'm thinking of UUP.
Yeah, I think you were doing that on UUP. Yep.
That's where it's actually broke. Is let me expand that one. That's it. UUP was 24.17, and we got down to 24.15. So by 2 pennies, it has broken the sequence. So this is no longer valid. This target has to go away. I did notice that we are close to this middle chart here. So if I move this back, where this all came from and drawn was, so we very well may jump through that. Yeah, so technically we should redraw this one. It could have bad news to the bottom, but like you say, we have a lot of time, a good half a year still left in that position.
Yep. And if we do see any kind of weakness, either now or in the fall, which is kind of a more typical seasonal weakness for stocks, we'll see that position kind of normalize and start to move higher. But I still think, yeah, I mean, if you take a look at that long-term chart, the top one there, that is still, it's just a big sideways pattern here. I mean,
the weekly.
Yeah, in a weekly. I mean, you just got this big consolidation. We'll see what happens. This could be, I mean, it looks like almost like not quite a head and shoulders pattern because the right shoulder is a little bit too low, but an inverse head and shoulders pattern maybe. I don't know. It's very, very difficult to tell exactly what the US dollar is going to do here.
Well, and with so much central bank policy changes and what they're doing right now, that makes it less normal, if we want to call it that, for what we've seen historically. I mean, looking at reverse repos, we mentioned in the first 2 weeks of May, we've had over, was it 1.5 trillion of reverse repo activity?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. One of the, I heard this guy this morning say that he bought his son a used truck for $3,400. I think it was a flatbed truck. I forget which brand it was, but within 6 months he sold it for $8,500. I mean, prices of everything are going up. Even
especially used cars. Used cars. I'm talking to people. We do more and more on the road stuff. So campers are going crazy. You can't even get stuff ordered in time. Obviously, supply chains for that, but everything that's used, people that bought one can turn around and sell it for almost double their price. But then you're stuck if you sell it, then you can't get one that you need to use.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's one of those. It's like the housing market. You sell when it's hot, but then you got to live somewhere, so you still need to buy a house. So it's kind of the same boat where everything's going up. But they keep saying inflation is transitory, and I love that word. That just means that it's temporary. Well, pretty much everything's temporary, right? Except for death and taxes and temporary government programs.
Yeah, this is kind of a very strange time. I think people are out. The vaccinations are starting to, I think, encourage people to go out and spend money. And so technology has gotten hit maybe because of that. They're thinking, hey, we don't have to use Zoom. We don't have to use Twitter. We're not going to be on social media as much. We've got summer months coming in the United States. And so we're not going to be inside as much. And so technology stocks that depend upon that user engagement are not going to go up. It doesn't mean that, we couldn't see further gains in technology, but we may be at a level right now where they're not going to go up. Instead, some of the retail earnings coming out this morning at the tail end of the earnings season were pretty good. Macy's killed it. Macy's did really well.
Yeah, and a lot of it is excuse me, probably online stuff too, where they're getting things delivered, where the stores
Yeah.
are still coming back, like anybody, you name it, any big box brander that, people are still buying stuff, just getting it delivered to their houses. Although just recently with this week, with the new CDC updates, a lot of stores are dropping the mask mandates, so that's going to help them as well. Walmart was the first one, and then Target followed suit because they didn't probably want to lose a bunch of sales with everybody going to Walmart that didn't have to wear a mask if they had their shots. How they're going to police that is another story.
Yeah, exactly. How are you going to prove that? I mean, you get a little tiny card with your shots on it.
Right.
What does that prove? It doesn't really prove very much. People could make those up. I mean, when I got my shots, it's a little tiny card, and the pharmacist just wrote in the date and I think he wrote down the brand of the shot. That was about it.
Yep. So we'll watch for that. I should pull over. One thing I did notice looking at the calendar, looks like another big FOMC party. If we look at this week, 3 on Monday, 1 today, 2 tomorrow, another one on Friday, all kinds of speakers speaking again. They got to fill in the calendar with FOMC members. But housing, not a good number. It's red. They were forecasting 1.7, came in at 1.5.
Yeah.
Building permits were as expected, so nothing major there.
Well, the starts kind of make sense though, right? I mean, with lumber just about tripling in price, the cost of building a new home is enormous. And so people are like, well, I'll buy existing. So it would be interesting to see how the existing home sales coming out on Friday are going to stack up. That might be a higher number.
Yeah, exactly. Previous was 601. They got this one forecast at 609. So they're optimistic on it. We'll see where it comes in on Friday.
I'll do a prediction and say it's 6.5.
6.05 or 6.5?
No, 6.5.
Ooh.
Big number. I think existing home sales are going up.
There we go. We'll check it out. We'll be in the Slack channels for that since we won't have a call on Friday, but we'll see where that comes out. Unemployment claims are forecasting the first time or maybe only the second time below 500K. We'll see where that comes. And we saw that last week where they keep revising those. So maybe they'll revise back up to 500. That's a quick peek on the calendar. And we're about at the top of the hour. So let's see if we got anything final that's cooking here. Looks like internals, since we've been here, are starting to tick back up. They're approaching that positive 500, but no crazy moves as of yet. Still pretty much flat line on right around the 0 line there. So it looks like more chop happening. We got maybe some support on VIX, so that's not going away yet.
Yeah, we're kind of in a holding pattern here. And, the more time it goes by that we don't drop significantly in the stock market, the greater the probability that we're going higher.
Yep, as things open up, like you say, what's going to make it higher? Just little by little. A lot of speculative, more speculative than ever before.
Yeah, I think people are going to really pile in, especially if we go up to new highs. They're just going to go all in, and it's just absolutely amazing. I think it's the resilience of, having coming out of the pandemic. And if you're looking to buy something, you've held off for months and months and months, and this might be a good time to buy.
Well, and I heard this on the radio coming home yesterday. Did you hear about the new child care tax credits? Maybe they're not new if I was hearing it on the radio, but new announcements that are coming out. It's like $3,000 per child for above 6, and below 6 it's like $3,600.
Yeah, there has been a child care tax credit before, but it was very little. It was minimum, or some states didn't offer it. I think this is the first time maybe the federal government offered it. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, let me pull up. Let's see. The Washington Post has one here. Child cash credits begin hitting a million parents on July 15th. They're announcing go away.
You're doing a monthly payment?
Yeah.
Really? So it's not a tax credit. It's an actual cash monthly payment.
So $300 per kid under 6 and $250 for 6 and older. Monthly benefits deposited directly in your account on the 15th every month. What does that sound like?
UBI.
Oh, it's just temporary though. Yeah, that was just announced. That's May 17th, so that was yesterday. That was part of probably why I heard the news driving in the car. So where's all that going to go?
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, this is kind of like, it's a little bit late though for this, because I mean, everybody who was hit by the pandemic and couldn't go to work in an office was stuck at home with their kids and taking care of their kids and having trouble, you know, working at the same time. That's when they could have used it. Now it's kind of like, you know, everybody's going to go back to work, maybe go back to the office.
Well, how much is that going to stop people from going back to work? Okay, here's what you had before. Your unemployment's going to end up, but we're going to call it a child care credit. We're going to pay you this much now instead.
Right. Huh.
I think that I heard the calculations comes out to about $15 an hour is what these credits are giving people. So that's their way of getting the minimum wage there.
Right.
They just give it to you for free now. Well, I shouldn't say for free because they'll still tax you on it.
I think their twisted thinking is that if we help people who, you know, if we help them get back to work, they won't take the unemployment. They can go back to work and they can still make the same amount of money if they got small kids.
And I did hear along those lines that if you were offered a job, you were no longer going to qualify for your unemployment. So they're trying to crack down on people doing that.
Yeah, if you were offered a job and you refuse it. Now, what happens if you are offered a job that's like a lot less than you were making before? Are they still going to cut?
Yeah, good question.
Or it's not in your line of work. I mean, you just applied for something and you said, you know, some guy could just shoot you an email, say, hey, I know you're looking for, you know, for a manager's position, but we've got a line worker here. So
right.
You know.
Well, and how is that policed as well? Like, how do they know?
Yeah, I know exactly.
It's probably on your honor to say, yes, I was offered this, or no, I wasn't. Well, who's going to do that in that situation?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not too many.
All right. Well, we'll let you enjoy your sun there. We're right about the top of the hour, so we'll probably call this one a wrap. And as you guys ever have any questions, just shoot us emails. You can reach us at support@tradingology.com. And the Strong Market team, you can also reach at support@strongmarket.com. You're welcome, Kyle. Appreciate you coming out and joining us as always. We'll get this guy up the recordings for other members to leverage it. And Dave, we'll chat with you on Thursday.
Yeah, have a great day, guys, and we'll see you Thursday.
Bye-bye.